That's a massive game for Man City. It's massive for them and, of course, Liverpool. Is it do or die, do you think? Are we too early in the season to say if Man City lose that game, the gap's 8, it'll be 11 with 13 played, that it's over? It seems a little bit early for me to say that.
It does, right? If they lose to Liverpool in 11 points, it does. But the reason why you'd almost go, I'm not sure, is because simply the fact Liverpool don't look like slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, okay.
That's why you'd probably go, At some point, Liverpool will have a slight blip. That's fact. They're not going to go for the whole season, although we've seen teams, Manchester City, 100 points. Liverpool get to 96 points and not win the league. But just Manchester City just looks so far off it from what we're used to seeing that you think maybe at some point it was always going to happen. 4 in a row. I thought last season with the 4 in a row, at times they looked a bit tired, like mentally fatigued, and I thought, but they managed to find something from somewhere and win it again. To go again and try and do 5 in a row, as well as compete in the Champions League, as well as win everything else, it must take its toll at some point. So, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't win it this year. They have it almost like a down year, and then next season they come back and completely blast
another rebuild.
Yeah. So, but Ruben Diaz, that's a big miss. Him not being there. Kovacic on his own. You probably go, well, really, but because Rodri's not there, it's an even bigger miss that Kovacic is not there. Then you've got Doku, just gives them an option. I just think maybe you look at the strength and depth of the squad, and yes, they've got some good players, but at some point, some of those guys have played a lot of football. They're aging. Like Gundogan went away for a year, came back. He hasn't quite got going yet.
Defensively, they look frail at the moment.
Do you know what the biggest thing was? And I know Werner's quick, right? And I know he's really quick, right? But that does not happen to Kyle Walker, does it?
No, you're right.
And it almost felt, usually in that scenario, if someone is as quick, because I'd probably put Werner as quick as Kyle Walker, they're in the same discussion, right?
Yeah.
You'd think Kyle Walker would run with them, put his arm across, game over. He'd take the ball, go back to the goalkeeper, they get up. He couldn't even get near Werner to put his arm across, and that was why I was like, oh, Kyle, that's not like you. That so. Listen, I still think they're still going to finish top 4. That's fact, but it's not what I'd expect from Manchester City side at all.
Do those thoughts completely disappear if Man City do get a result at Anfield? The gap's 8, it'll be 5.
Yeah, 5 points is nothing. 5 points is absolutely nothing, because if Man City go there and win, then it's just back on again.
Listen, I'm going to say something now, but you could argue that I could have said this last week or the week before. I can't see Man City losing 6 games on the bounce, but I couldn't see 5 and I couldn't see 4.
It happens.
It does happen. I think yesterday it would be concerning for Man City fans, the manner in which they lost.
Well, do you know what? And I was going to say that. As bad as Manchester City were, I think you have to pat Spurs on the back.
Of course you do.
Because that's the thing with Ange Postecoglou
That's a very good point.
And this team. They will have games like Ipswich, where Ipswich go and beat them and everyone's like, oh my goodness, how can you lose to Ipswich? But then that performance against Manchester City, and I know maybe it's their bogey team, but the way that they ran, the energy, the creativity, the ruthlessness in front of goal.
The very quick press as well.
The very quick getting after the ball. I thought Ange got his tactics absolutely spot on. And if there was any concerns about Ange and his job at Spurs, that one performance should quieten them down for at least another 3 months.
When Man United last won the Premier League in 2013 and Fergie left, you, along with quite a few people, I think it was you, but Cunley certainly, I was obviously doing the show with him, and were blaming Fergie leaving the club in the state it was with an ageing squad. Yeah. Do you think one of the reasons Pep's decided to sign for 2, or there's an option of 2, I think it's 1 and the club decide, or they both decide, whatever, but we fully expect him to be there for 2 years. Do you think one of the reasons why it's a 2-year deal now is to give him time to rebuild again? Yeah, 2 years is he's got a lot of young players still in the squad that are not, like Ruben Diaz is 27. So there you go, fantastic. Phil Foden, he's young. What's happened to Phil Foden's form? Gone, completely gone. Oscar Bobb's injured, but he will be a superstar. Yeah. He's young. Yeah. But I think for Phil Foden, it almost looks like, to me, he looks like someone who's played a lot of football and just needs a breather from somewhere. But he was fantastic last season. Now, to come back and replicate what he did last season was always going to be difficult. Yeah. Had an indifferent Euros, let's say, regardless whether he's playing in his position or not, it just didn't work. And it hasn't really worked ever for England, has it? You've never had a moment with Phil Foden playing for England and you've gone, oh my goodness. Whereas Jude Bellingham has been loads of them. But I just don't think he's got going. He's had a few injuries as well, Phil, and I get it. He almost falls into that, like, we've got to go again. Another one in a row, 5 in a row. It's hard. Like, they will come good. I've got no doubts about it. Manchester City and with this manager will come good. But I just think at the minute, he's being asked to play a number of positions. I think he's played from the right. He's played from the left. I think we want to see him in the 10. He's had to move all around as well. And the balance of the team, Rico Lewis, again, good player. He's not a defensive player. No, he's 20 years old, so he's young.
I'm just not sure how top he is. Now, people might be going, what are you talking about, right? And I think technically he's really good. But I'm not sure if, like, okay, if he wasn't, let me ask you a question. If he wasn't at Manchester City, would he be in the England squad?
Yeah, okay. That's a fair question.
I'm not quite sure he would be.
Yeah. So I hear what you're saying. So do you think in January then, they're obviously going to have to strengthen?
Yeah.
But they will be in the latter stages of the Champions League. They might be out the title race by then, but I doubt it. Do you expect them to strengthen with players that they see coming in short term to fill a gap? Or do you think they'll be buying players that might not necessarily be ready for this season, but long term they're going to be?
I think when I look at Manchester City, I very rarely feel like they are shopping for them now. I almost feel like they're looking at, right, 6 months, end of the season, kind of integrate him into the squad, and then they take off. I mean, Savino's probably playing more minutes now than probably they expected.
Yeah.
And he's only 20. But you think about it, the experience these guys are getting, the start of next season, you'd expect them to go, okay, fly, take off.
So are we both saying they're not out of the title race yet, but losing to Liverpool, that pretty much seals their fate?
I would say so.
Yeah, I would say 11's going to be a little bit too much, even with, 26 games to go.
And the fact Liverpool just don't look like they're slowing down. Even yesterday, where I didn't think they were great, they've got players in their squad. I mean, Salah.
And when they're going forward, they just look like they're going to score. Put on our WhatsApp group, Liverpool will get the winner.
Yeah. I mean, Salah wasn't great and could have had 5 yesterday.
Yeah.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.